Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be around the world. We have listeners around the world to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Jerry Usher along with Debbie Georgiani. We both pray that you had a very blessed and restful and peace-filled weekend. And we're off and running here on our Monday broadcast, Debbie, and hope that you and Marty had a good weekend.
We did. My mom was released from the rehab that she was in after she took a fall. I think I shared it with our Take Two listeners a couple weeks ago. And she went back to her place of residence, which I'm so excited. And everybody was happy to see her. They just all said, "Hi, Connie, you look great," even though she has like still a little knot on the side of her head from where she fell. But she's tough. She's pretty cool, and she hung in there. So we're very happy. And now we're upon Thanksgiving week, Jerry. Can you believe this?
Well, I'll tell you. Yeah, in fact, just as a reminder, we'll have pre-recorded or previously aired shows on Thursday and Friday as Debbie and I, hopefully along with all of you, dear listeners, enjoy a couple of days with family and friends and giving thanks to God for all the blessings that He has given us. And one of those blessings, Debbie, could be self-control, and that comes into play in a lot of ways in our lives. And today's topic, dear listeners, is we're going to be talking about anger. Why are we so angry? Debbie, we look around in the news, in the media, on the roads, in schools, in workplaces, that so many people are angry and expressing that anger and that rage. And we want to have a frank conversation with those of you who are listening. Why you think that is? Are we angry just because of external circumstances, or does it go deeper? Maybe there are things within us, Debbie, that cause us sometimes to express that anger.
Well, I think you're alluding to the fact that there's sometimes wounds, childhood wounds that can resurface during situations that make us have that fight or flight response that happens with anger, or maybe there's a sense of fear or rejection or something of that nature that prompts us to be a little tightly wound. I agree with you, Jerry. I think there's a lot of uptight people functioning right now, and it's a pretty tense environment, and it's really quite sad, I think, because we miss the opportunities to really connect soul to soul with one another, especially if we can sense that there could be a quick trigger there, a little bit of anger, and that could keep people at bay. So I think this is this could be a very worthy discussion today, but we need our listeners' support. So you got to call in and share your experience, your take on this, of why we're so angry these days. 1-800-585-9396. That's the number to get on the show. Jerry, may I please put in a prayer request
Sure.
to our Take Two? Okay. I was on Catholic Connection this morning with Sherry Brownrigg. She was guest hosting. We were talking about suffering today. And, we were suffering because Teresa's in Italy on a wine tour. So, of course, we were suffering here. No, but we were really talking about suffering and things we go through in our lives. Anyway, I just wanted to ask the Take Two listeners, the details of this story are very sensitive. So I'm just going to remain the details very anonymous. Okay, but I'm going to ask the Take Two listeners, please, if you could start praying for this beautiful family that listened to the show this morning. They have a lot of hard decisions ahead, and big family, big, beautiful Catholic family. If you could just pray that the mom of this family continues to have tremendous strength and keeps moving forward. And please ask the angels to protect the entire family. So if you could just do that, God knows who the family is. Okay, so we just need the Take Two family to help pray around this beautiful family, because they have some decisions to make, and some, I really believe God really spoke through prayer this morning, directed right to this family, that He really wants us all to help them by praying around them. So I know the Take Two family is fervent in prayer. So.
Yes, indeed. And we are talking again today about anger. Why are we so angry? Is it a natural human emotion? I believe it is. Jesus himself got angry. We see, I believe it's in all four of the Gospels, we see Jesus, going into the temple and confronting the money changers and turning their tables over. And that is often referred to as a form of righteous anger. And we see St. Paul writes in Ephesians 4, verse 26, he says, be angry, but do not sin, excuse me, and do not let the sun go down on your anger. So the fact that there is anger in some of our lives, it's not necessarily something, we don't necessarily have to think, oh, there's something wrong with me. But what do we do with that anger? And how do we express it? Are we free to express righteous anger like Jesus did? Or should we really try and control that? And maybe you struggle with a little bit of anger in your life, or you know someone who does, and you've had to really be understanding and compassionate, maybe with a spouse who will just kind of fly off the handle sometime, and maybe you know that there are underlying reasons for that, and so you have to really be patient and kind and forgiving and loving and patient at a time like that. 1-800-585-9396. That'll get you on the program today.
Do you struggle with anger, Jerry?
Too often I don't struggle with it. I just let it loose.
No, I've never seen you really get angry.
You know what? I do. I have some issues with anger. I will say that, and I really believe that it's due to, early life experiences.
Okay.
The divorce of my parents and abandonment by my dad, and some of the things, my interaction with my mom and so forth. Which it's all good now, but. Those kinds of things, can cause somebody when you have been cheated or hurt or wounded or something, then that it can lay dormant. It can lay really deep down inside, and then you find yourself sort of, reacting to certain situations, and maybe you wonder why. Maybe somebody acts a certain way, and they just simply don't know why.
Right.
Because we see these irrational acts around us, like these mass shootings and stuff, and you're going, well, wait a minute, a rational human being doesn't do that. What is the motivation for that? Where does the anger come from that leads somebody to do something like that?
I have a quick temper, but I blame it.
You're Italian, right?
That's right. I blame it on my Italian heritage, so that's how I get away with it. No, as I've grown older,
being Italian's an excuse for just about
everything.
Anything.
Exactly. But here's the thing, Jerry. I've learned as I've gotten older that it's not worth it because it takes a toll on you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It just takes a toll on you. Like it's not worth it anymore. It's one of those things that I got bored with. I think seriously, because there is an adrenaline rush. There is. We know that all these different, chemicals are released when you have that fight or flight response and that anger, and your blood pressure gets higher and all that kind of stuff. But as I got older, I thought, no, I like it much more quiet and peaceful. So I've changed drastically, I think.
Well, yeah, and I would love to hear from anybody or maybe several people. Perhaps you have, like Debbie, maybe you've worked on some sort of anger in your own life. What do they often say, Debbie? Unresolved. That's the phrase that's often used. Is unresolved anger. And so let's have a conversation about this. Maybe you've come a long way in that area, and again, maybe you have someone in your life that you just look at them and you go, "Why are you so angry? I don't get it." 1-800-585-9396. That is our toll-free number. It's Monday of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Let's get this week off to a great start. What do you think, Deb?
I think it's a great idea. So we're asking today, why are we so angry in this world right now? We want to hear from you. You drive the show. 1-800-585-9396. Don't wait till the last minute to get on the show. We want to get to you. When we come back, we're going straight to Emily, who's been waiting so patiently. Hold on, Emily.
Hi, this is Dan Burke from the National Catholic Register.
Hello, this is Bishop David O'Connell of the Diocese of Trenton.
Hi, this is Teresa Tomeo, host of Catholic Connection, and thanks for listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Jumpstart your faith. Now coming to a parish conference or retreat near you, world-renowned Catholic radio host Jerry Usher.
It's not enough to stop doing whatever it is that's keeping you from union with God. For most of us, there are serious issues that need to be addressed first in order to be able to embrace that life of virtue. All those things we're all called to, but which every one of us struggles to achieve.
Invite Jerry Usher today. Contact thirdmillenniummedia.com.
Have you heard about Church Pop? Church Pop features new online Christian content that's fun and inspiring every day. Find it on Snapchat, Instagram, and on the web at churchpop.com.
Living the Beatitudes with Father Bjorn.
Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. We get what we look for. Saint Therese of Lisieux has an interesting insight on this. Once in a discussion over the possibility of avoiding purgatory, the future saint told another member of her community, Sister Maria Fabronia, that God was more father than judge. And in this debate, she finally took the liberty of saying to the other sister, "If you look for the justice of God, you will get it. The soul will receive from God exactly what she desires." Are we full of wounds and anger and hurt, and do we want to inflict that on other people? Are we allowing God to heal us? If we receive His mercy, we have to show it to others. The Beatitudes are the heart of Jesus' message. Let's be transformed by them. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, Monday broadcast. We've got 3 live days with you this week, and then previously aired shows on Thursday and Friday. You're gonna enjoy them anyway. So in and around your holiday meal preparations and other activities, try and catch Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and all the other fine EWTN radio programs. Talking about anger today. Why are we so angry? Is it stuff outside of us? Is it all the political stuff? Is it the godlessness of our country? Is it the finger pointing? Is it just I don't know, so many different things outside of us? But what kind of makes that anger well up within us, and how do we deal with that? 1-800-585-9396.
I know what makes you angry, Jerry.
What makes me angry?
Traffic.
Traffic is one thing.
Does it? Yeah, I know.
Well, you know what? I do have some streaks of anger in me. I've admitted that already, and I believe that part of it is I have this really black and white personality, if you will, and when I see injustices, that's when I really want to kind of get agitated. And that's why, when we in the Catholic Church, we have these, what we call the office of justice and peace. It's not the office of peace and justice. It's the office of justice and peace, because in order to have peace, in order for a culture, a society to run harmoniously, for people to get along and actually love each other and be kind to each other, there has to be justice. And there is injustice everywhere we look today. And I think a lot of that is what's driving some of the anger in our country, quite frankly. So anyway.
Well, let's hear what Emily has to say in Greencastle, Indiana, listening on Catholic Radio Indy. Hi, Emily. Thanks for being first up today on Take Two.
Hello.
Hi, Emily.
Busyness is my take on anger. As a mom of 2 young kiddos, I jump to anger a lot more frequently when we have something that we need to get to right away, or when we just pack our day too full. And my kids are what really remind me to take a step back, calm down, and just do less. Seems like our whole world is doing more, and it's just leading to more and more anger.
If I can just offer a thought on that first, Emily, you have just opened my eyes to one of the issues that I deal with. All the travel that I do and being busy and everything. I love it. I love the work and all of that. But I will be on. Here's one of the times when my, I guess, anger, or maybe I'd call it impatience, kind of surfaces. Is it's like even a week or a couple weeks before I have a lot of back to back road trips, and I've got so much to do around the house and so many other work things that I feel this agitation in my spirit. And Emily, I know what you're talking about, and Debbie, I don't know if you can relate to that, but she has just nailed it. I think this is really a key element in this for so many of us.
Yeah, Emily, I had a really great mentor when I was raising the kids, and that she told me, she says, cut everything in half. And I started practicing that early on when the kids were little, and it really saved my sanity. Because we would pack in, the McDonald's trip, and then we'd go to, the next place, the toy store, and then we go to a friend's house for, a play date and all that. And it was so much. By the time I got home, I was so agitated, and it was horrible that I started cutting everything in half, and it really was enjoyable. I don't know if you ever thought about that, but I did everything in half. What do you think?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, but you're not alone. I think we all do that because I think we're trying to do too much in general. Don't you think? I mean, my mother always talked about in Sicily, she used to hear stories about her grandparents that they would just take these beautiful siestas and they would walk along the streets and look at the pretty buildings. And I mean, we never do any of that. When have we ever done that? Take that time. So no, I'm right. I don't think you're alone, Emily. I think there's a lot of us out there that just pack our days with a ton of busyness, and it really can get too much, overwhelming.
Have you found anything, Emily, that helps you kind of manage this in your life?
We take a family walk every night. Both my husband is a missionary on a college campus, so his hours are really crazy, but we've made sure that we have that 30 minutes where we're all as a family and we're just doing that, taking a walk.
See, that's precious.
Has really helped.
Oh, yeah, that's precious. That's awesome, Emily. Thank you so much. You sound like a great mom. You really do. I mean, I love that. I think it's important that we talk about what we go through on a daily basis so we can all learn and grow. I think this is a great discussion so far.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a parent that would have any trouble identifying and, relating to what Emily's talking about. So, Emily, you probably just helped a lot of parents, a lot of moms and dads out there. Thanks for being on the program and, being open and honest about who you are and how you're trying to be a better person. We think that's awesome. Thanks, Emily. We're going to go to Renee next in Hardington, Nebraska, listening on Spirit Catholic Radio. Hi, Renee. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie, my question comes from what you had said about I've realized in my life that it's not worth it. It's not worth my health. It's not worth how it makes the other people feel that you're being angry at.
Right.
And I guess I kind of learned it from early on in my career. My boss had me go to an anger management class, and it really touched me. But now I'm still on the other end because I have a husband that just goes off. And I have a hard time because I take it all in, and I know I shouldn't, and I'm getting better at that. But how do you make them realize that? I can't get him to an anger management class, but what are some tips on, I've tried different things. I walk away. A lot of times I just walk away.
Does that make him more frustrated when you walk away?
Sometimes, yeah. And then, yeah. And then, but then sometimes he just goes on and on and on and on, and I still hear him clear in the other room, and it's just like, oh.
Right. Well, here's the thing, Renee. Jerry and I are not counselors, but we've lived a long life experience. So I can just share this with you, that I've learned that there's a certain payoff to anger. There's something that's driving it. There is that adrenaline rush, and there is a payoff to it. So there's something that he is either maybe wanting or needing or in fear of or something. And if we need to pray that he gets to the root of whatever it is that's driving it, because it's not healthy for him. That's
what bothers me.
Right, exactly. So we've got to pray. Let's start praying. We've got to Google it, Jerry. Who's the saint of anger? There's a patron saint for anger. There is. Jerry's going to look
that up. Well,
okay, yeah, because I want to just share something that you said, Renee, that I just want to make sure that you make sure you don't do. You said something that you said something to the effect that you are somewhat absorbing it. Please don't do that. That's going to chip away at you. It's going to chip away at your self-esteem. It's going to chip away at you. So you've got to try hard to either, what I would do is start praying. Start praying when your husband is having one of these anger outbursts. Start praying, not out loud because that might infuriate him, but start praying, because that'll keep you in a good, solid place of protection. Because I know, because when I used to have a very quick temper, I know it didn't fare well with my husband. I know he absorbed it and it wasn't good. And vice versa, same thing. So I've learned, it's taken me many years, but I've learned that you've got to protect yourself, spiritually, emotionally, to be able to not soak that all in, because that's not healthy for you. So it sounds like you're trying hard and you're using the tools. But here's the thing about anger management classes. I think one of the problems that we have, I think everybody in the world should go to anger management classes. The problem is we call them anger management classes. We need to rename them something else, like Life Skills 101 or something like that, because people don't want to be labeled as an angry person. Would you agree with that, Renee?
Yep, 100%. I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So there you go. Let's start a Life Skills 101, Jerry. We can start a class like that.
Yeah, I should have thought of this and remembered this. St. Jerome, he is not officially the patron saint of anger, but he's actually the patron saint of librarians, translators, and scholars because, as many people know, he translated the Hebrew Bible into Latin. But St. Jerome was known to have a very, very quick temper, very, very sarcastic wit, and he would, again, getting back to what I was talking about, the black and white, the justice kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Anybody who was an enemy of the church or the faith or taught falsely, he would really go after, sometimes very sarcastically in writing and so forth. But he was also very quick to be remorseful of his temper and his sins, and he was also known to be very, very much more lenient on others than on himself. So he recognized and identified it, but it was certainly something that he struggled with. So Renee, I encourage you maybe to invoke the intercession of St. Jerome. He lived, I think it was about around the middle of the 4th century, if I remember correctly.
Sounds good, Renee?
He would never hurt anybody, but when his temper flares, it goes. So yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I will pray to him.
Awesome. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
We can always turn to the saints, Debbie.
I always do. I need all the saints to help me. Sometimes I get so tired of picking just one or two. I just say, you know what? Can everybody just help?
Yeah.
Everybody join in. Yeah. Okay, Ron, you're up next in Los Angeles, California, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Ron. Welcome. Hello, Ron.
Hey.
Hi.
I'm here.
How are you doing?
What's happening, Ron?
Hey, I heard this morning's topic, and I thought this was an appropriate day for Monday especially. I've often thought that, lately anyway, that the anger comes in from two places. One is from the wanting to do what you want to do and not getting to do it, and the two is the injustice issue. Having grown up in an atmosphere where I had abuses and issues to deal with both inside and outside the home, I didn't always get the chance or the strength to defend myself. And so a lot of anger and outbursts, especially in my later years here, has been to the point to where I had to really stop and pray and ask for help to get me through that moment so that I can do what I need to do in the right way. And it's been a hard lesson, but at 57, hopefully it's going to keep me going a few more years for that.
Yeah, Ron, you've probably been listening since the start of the show today, and you heard me mention some of the similar things. When I feel a little bit of anger welling up within me, I've worked hard over the years as well to try and identify this and not let it control me, but vice versa. And I loved your approach when first of all, you have a recognition of this, which is you're a leg up on so many people. You have been given a great gift that God has given you these insights. And then the way you said you stop and you pray and you really turn it around, you turn this into a spiritual moment. Because the thing is, there's nothing sinful about temptation. And we can be tempted to be angry and express that anger in a sinful way. But Ron, you are putting the brakes on that and you're turning it into a moment to grow in virtue. And also I believe healing comes in through that too. So Debbie, I think Ron has found a really healthy approach to this.
Couldn't agree more. This is why I call Ron my hero. See, Ron? Always hitting those home runs. I don't know about you. I'm telling you, you've never disappointed us yet. Pretty awesome, Ron. Thank you so much. I agree with everything you said, Jerry, and everything Ron said.
Anything else, Ron, before we let you go? Go ahead. What was that?
I'm saying mercy is part of that issue of turnaround. If I get angry at somebody, I can probably expect to have some anger return. So if I treat him with mercy, that's going to at least kind of deaden or lessen the pain of it all.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And to your point, Ron, I think, Debbie, a lot of people are actually, they're surprised when you don't treat them in a rude or impatient or angry manner, because sometimes so many people, all of us, I think, come to expect that in today's culture in many cases. And when you instead turn that into a moment of kindness and charity, I think people kind of take a step back and go, what?
Yeah, where is
that
this
wasn't what I was expecting, and it can really help to change a relationship, an interaction, a friendship, what have you. So,
well,
good stuff, Ron.
You're letting people rise to the best version of themselves, which is really good. You're giving them that opportunity. I mean, if you just fight back, then, I mean, what does that do? It keeps everybody down. Yeah, it is good stuff, Ron. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Ron. We've got Daryl and Fong and Michelle and Joe and an open phone line, 1-800-585-9396. Mondays Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Why are we angry? Is it because of all of the I don't know, the conflict in the world? Is it the finger pointing, the contentious political stuff that we see happening around us? What kind of sets us off, you know? And how can we temper that and maintain control over our anger versus that controlling us? 800-585-9396.
It's the start of a new day for Morning Catholic Radio.
That attack on men just reaches to the lowest, for example, in all the commercials, there's usually features a man who's some form of a buffoon who can't figure out how to do something. Oh, I'm such a buffoon. I don't know how to use this product here. Oh, dear. Of course, here's how you use it. So a smart woman or a wise kid sets the guy straight.
Morning Glory, Catholic from the start. Weekday mornings, 7 Eastern on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Hey, this is Doug Keck, and welcome to this Bookmark Brief. Our guest is Jeff Cavins, whose wife, along with several other women, has written a book called A Walk Through the Catholic Bible. And Emily is one of the contributors to one of the four who's contributing. And we figured while we were here, we'll just ask you to give us a synopsis.
Sure. Well, Gen to Rev storybook, A Walk Through the Catholic Bible, is a way for parents to read the Bible to their children so that they get the narrative of salvation history. It takes about 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week, 6 months. You'll go through the basic storyline of the Bible. You'll read from a real Bible, go back to the storybook and get a synopsis of that day's reading at a 4th grade level. Mm-hmm. And in the margins, we have icons, and that tells you where everything Catholic comes from.
Okay, very good, Jeff. The title, A Walk Through the Catholic Bible. Jeff's beautiful wife, Emily, was involved with this. And thank you so much for joining us here on this Bookmark Brief.
You know what Catholic radio is? It's training for the troops. It's a inter-aural of the ear boot camp. The folks who listen, who grow in their faith, grow in charity, grow in all the virtues, they then go out and exert an influence far beyond just themselves. Catholic radio has an exponential effect for bringing people deeper into the faith.
Dr. Ray Guarendi thinks Catholic radio is important. So should you.
Well, if Dr. Ray Guarendi says that Catholic radio is important, it is important to me. I'm not gonna make him upset. Okay, this is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking about why are we so angry in this world? That's what we're talking about. Now, I hear we got a lot of Facebook comments coming in, Jerry. Can you share any of them?
Well, yeah, there's a ton on EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook page. Hello, greetings to all of you watching the live video stream, also on YouTube. Kristen says, I get scared when politicians try and take away my Medicare and disability. This leads to anger. Angel says, it all starts with your own person. It's very easy to wake up with good intentions, but when your feet step outside your door each day, the true test is waiting. Very good, Angel. Daryl says, anger? I struggle with my temper, but find that when I reflect, it's usually caused by my own pride. I react because I feel slighted or dismissed. Mm-hmm. I forget that God is my center and focus and elevate my own desires and react selfishly. Daryl, I'm in the same camp as you are. I sometimes recognize that as pride on my part as well. Debbie, you mentioned my impatience and sometimes a little bit of anger when I'm driving. That's really what it is. It's pride. You know, somebody.
You're quite funny though when
somebody
you
does something, and I go, yeah, well, I know I get cynical and
a little bit of cynicism, but I crack up, and I think it makes you more upset than I'm laughing hysterically. Does that make you upset? I just need to know.
Okay, we're going to go to Daryl Daryl's in Imperial County, California. Has us on Facebook Live.
That's hilarious.
Daryl, thank you very much for joining us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hey, it's a blessing to be here. Thank you for taking me in.
Sure, absolutely.
Can you hear me?
Oh, perfectly.
Okay, good. You read my Facebook comment a little bit ago, but I just wanted to expand. You know, growing up, I've always struggled with my temper, and now I'm a high school principal. And as a teacher and now as a principal, I find myself oftentimes faced with things that elevate the blood pressure, make me angry, and I want to lash out in anger. And yet I've also learned as I've gotten older, 52 tomorrow actually, as I've gotten older, I've learned that I can't let that go and I can't give in. And it's affected my family and at times affected my job. And I've given my family reasons to be embarrassed by how I act out with that. And like you mentioned earlier, being on the road and driving, I do the same thing. But when I really look at it and I really try and pray about why am I acting this way? Why am I doing this to other people, to myself, to my family? I find it's my pride. I find that I have trouble setting aside my own desires and letting God take the reins. And that's something I'm continuing to work through. And that self-reflection is brutal.
It is. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Debbie.
it is. No, I was just, did Daryl say, did you say you were a principal?
I am. I'm a high school principal.
High school. Wow. See, I think you're in the perfect position. I didn't mean to cut you off. I think you're in the perfect position, perfect job, because you're able to impart to these young adults this ability to cope in the world. And I think, look how God has placed you to be able to not only work out, to grow in your own self-discovery, but also to help these young minds. I think it's wonderful, Daryl. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you were going to say something.
Well, no, thank you. And I was going to say that, that's been one of the challenges, but also one of the blessings, is they come into my office angry, and they're lashing out, or their parents come in angry. And yet I'm able to more and more now, especially since I lived my Cursillo last spring, to remember that God put me there for a reason, and that it's not about me, and it's about doing more than for me. And that's changed how I handle it. Doesn't mean I've got it down. I still have those days and those moments in the day. But it certainly gives me a chance to try and make amends, and to try and demonstrate that it's okay to make amends, too, when you have those moments where you lose your temper and you get angry. And I found that to be extremely important in my faith walk, to own it and to try and make amends for those moments.
Great. Yeah, Daryl, you sound like, what's the saying, my brother from another mother, because it sounds like we share a lot of these things in common. But I was going to echo what Debbie said, and you recognize this. I think God puts us in situations like me, for example. Also, I'm a public figure on a radio show, a Catholic radio show, no less. And so, and as I go about, I have to really work hard to control that, because it could be scandalous. And I'm not saying I'm like when I'm by myself or not in the public eye, I'm just raging all the time. But even the little expressions of anger and impatience and so forth have to be controlled and reined in. And you similarly, Daryl, you have an opportunity to be such a great witness for a lot of these young kids who, like you said, they are carrying a lot of anger around, many of them, just simply because of what life has thrown at them. So, yeah, I think I agree with Debbie, Daryl. I think you're in a pretty good situation, and the more you work on that, the more we all work on this. Again, as I said with Ron earlier, we grow in virtue, and healing flows into our lives and through us to others. So,
exactly. I loved your post.
There's a great hymn that I love to reflect on, and it's "Make Me a Shadow of Your Peace," and where it is in pardoning that we're pardoned, and part of that is pardoning myself too, and recognizing that I'm not going to be perfect, but I got to keep working at it. So God's been good.
Amen. All the time.
St. Francis. Is your... Yep. Yeah. That's awesome, Daryl. Wow. See, this helped. I think this is going to help a lot of people today.
Thank you, Daryl, for calling.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Deb. You were going to say.
No, I'm just going to say that, Daryl's calls and Facebook post is perfect, because we all need to hear this. We're in jobs, we're working, we're out there, we're interacting with people. We need to know we're all dealing with the same things. And how do we work? Exactly. We are. That's right.
Hey, well, that's right. Who do we have next?
Fong is in McKinney, Texas. Hi, Fong. Thank you so much for waiting, and you're listening on the EWTN app. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, Fong.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
For taking my call.
You're welcome.
This topic is interesting because this is my topic too. I've been, anger through my adult life, because I think that's where the anger comes from is when I'm born with like 3 sisters. You know, I'm the middle child, and when my childhood is always timid, you know, I just cannot defend myself, and you know, I take care of all my own problem. So I think that's just build it up, and when I'm adult life, and it's just snap for whatever reason. And this anger has come to me very often when I have my own family and 2 kids, and it's got conflict with my husband, how to raise my kid, and you know, it's just snap like every single day. It's very easy. And I've come up to the point that, you know, I almost to walk out of my marriage thing. But thank God that He saved me by, you know, make me realize is all this anger is sometimes it's nothing. You know, I mean, just I think because I have you know, when my job is engineer, so I'm thinking of myself, I'm smart as well too, and I have a lot of pride in my own job, and you know, and I hate the people to accuse me for a certain thing that I didn't do or assuming things, you know. So that's built up all of the anger as well. So I used to, you know, fight with my husband and my kid, and you know, I do. Sometimes I just have to prepare for the next fight. That's what I'm saying. That's, you know, every single little thing is coming up, little small thing is coming up. It's going to be a big fight to me,
right?
And it wore me out too.
Okay, so do you want a couple practical things that you can maybe use or incorporate? Because you being an engineer, you're super logical, all right, super smart. I mean, you should be able to just weave these things into your natural day, and it'll just be wonderful for you. Okay,
right.
Okay,
right.
so
I do have some. I mean, like that is my. I think that's just my anger. Been, you know, it's still on and off, but. Yeah, a lot better after I do pray, and God revealed a lot of things to me. So when I couldn't, you know, how do I control my anger? I do pray whenever, you know, I just have to hold my tongue for maybe 5 minutes, and that's everything is going to went off. And also that I learned that I pray for the person that I'm fighting with or, you know, in anger with. I pray for them so that, you know, is helping me cool down. But yeah, I have to still keep.
Right. So here's a couple other things that if you just want to add these in, these may help you. Okay. So I love taking a step back and saying a prayer that totally will center you and get the heart rate down and totally get you back to a place where you can just kind of cope with things. But here's something else too. It sounds like, because you said you grew up as a middle child, and it sounds like that you may be struggling a little bit with your own self-worth. And that is going to put you in a defensive position. The reason why I know this is because my husband is very similar to you, and he'll say all the time that, you know, it bothers him if somebody, you know, says he did something when he didn't do it, and he gets very defensive. But he's learned that he has to reconnect at all times with God. And what he does is he says, God, you know the truth, I know the truth, and that's all that matters. And so he reestablishes his worth in God's eyes. Okay. And the same thing, I believe you need to affirm yourself in, because here's the thing. There's a reason we resort to anger. There's a reason we do it. Okay. People can probably trace back why they get angry at certain situations. In your case, I think you just have to build yourself up so you're in a better position for yourself, so that you don't choose anger as a way to kind of, how can I say this? Kind of give yourself a sense of peace or validation. Is that ringing true to you at all? Because I sense that it's almost a defensive anger. Yes, that's absolutely, that is my defense anger. You are right, correctly. And also that I think
it's the pride as well too, arrogant. That's what's built in me. And if you know when you have arrogance, I'm better too. I'm good too. You think I was thinking that people treat me like at work for being a minority, being a woman. People they don't usually to listen to you, or whatever. So it makes you feel like like you have to prove something.
Right. No,
so
I totally,
what it is.
Right. I totally understand. And let me share something with you. That's a very difficult position to be in because, first of all, you're very, very smart. You're an engineer. You're super smart. You're probably in the top, 1-2% of the whole country of intelligence because engineers are like that. They're just super, they're what do you call them? Brainiacs or, they just have, you guys are super focused on logical things and stuff. I get it. So what's really what I think is so awesome about your situation is I think it's fixable overnight. Because all you have to do is remind yourself how incredible you are. You are made in the image and likeness of God. And then you let all the other kind of nonsense fade away. It's not worth it because all it's going to do is tear you down in the long run. That's all it'll do. It may be an instant kind of quick fix, but it really, it sounds like it doesn't make you feel good at all. And so I just say more power to you. I think it could be fixed really easily. So what do you think, Fong?
I think you're absolutely right, Debbie. I mean, yes, I just need God in my life more, pray more, make myself a little bit more humble. And I think you're right, it's not worth it for the fight. It just wore me out so much, so much stress. And
I'm right with you, sister.
Family.
Well, Fong, I think you have.
You.
Thank you for calling. I think by calling in and Debbie sharing what I thought was actually wonderful, Debbie. I really believe, Fong, you've got some new tools in your toolbox maybe to take away from this broadcast and this phone call. So thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate that. We're going to get to Michelle in a minute. We had I forget her name, the earlier caller whose husband is a missionary on a college campus, and that reminded me that anybody really could be a missionary, and we're talking about a missionary for Catholic media. EWTN media missionaries are people in different parts of the country and even around the world, I presume, who work with the folks at EWTN, and they give you information or resources that you can distribute and put in your parish bulletin and really promote throughout your entire community. You can be responsible for the dissemination of the Catholic faith on radio and TV. Get details. Log on to EWTNmissionaries.com. That's EWTNmissionaries.com.
The caller you were referencing is Emily from
Emily.
Indiana.
Yeah.
See, I'm the note taker, the official
That's
note
right.
taker. Okay, Michelle from New Bedford, Massachusetts just dropped. Call back quickly. We want to get you on the show if we can. Okay, so then you just freed up the line for Juanita. Hi, Juanita in Garland, Texas, listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Juanita. Welcome.
Hello. I feel like a little bit of bitterness and anger toward my older brother and sister. When I was single, I used to watch their kids all the time and help them out. And now that I'm a single mom, they don't help me.
Right.
And so I try to avoid being around them as much as I can.
Okay, well, Juanita, real quickly, I have to share something with you. First of all, I'm so sorry that's happening to you because right now, as a single mom, you need that support. So here's the thing. We're going to ask the Take Two family to start praying that the right people come into your life to help you with the children. Okay, so we're going to pray for that as a Take Two family. Second of all, you're right. I'm sorry that happened to you. You did a wonderful, beautiful, godly thing for your siblings, and they did not return the favor. What's the old saying? No good deed goes unpunished. Juanita, here's the thing. You just have to focus on the blessings you will receive from God, either here or in eternity. You've got to focus on that. You've got to, and you've got to remove that pain you feel, because that's going to keep you stuck in a sense of, you might even build up resentment and frustration for your siblings. It's not worth it. You did a great thing, and all that's worth it is God noticed it. And that is wonderful. And the reason why I say that, Juanita, is I helped tremendously with my niece when my sister was raising her. She was a single mom, and my niece and I don't talk today. We don't talk. We don't speak, and it's very hurtful. And I will tell you that for a long time I held on to that anger, and then I finally said, you know what? I didn't do it for any other reason. I really ultimately did it for God. And so it allowed me to be free from it, and now I feel at peace with it. I don't know if that helps you at all, but I pray it does, because I can hear the frustration and pain in your heart through your tears.
I just feel like they're so ungrateful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What do you think, Jerry?
Well, yeah, and Juanita, I would just encourage you. You said so many beautiful things there, Debbie. I'm not sure if you wove this in there, but pray for them. Love them, pray for them, and there may be reason. Maybe they're just really, really busy. I mean, family obligations, can easily be set aside, for the sake of busyness and so forth. But maybe you don't know the reasons why they don't kind of reciprocate and help you out when you really could use the help. So. I would just encourage you to try and understand, or maybe accept and appreciate that maybe their lives are busy, or they have things going on that are just factors in all of this, and just offer them up in prayer, because that will help them. God will bless them, and God will also help relieve your heart of some of this frustration and even anger as well. So, thanks, Juanita. We'll be praying for you as well. For sure.
Yeah, that other people step in. There's tons of people out there. Believe me, sometimes we rely on our family, and they're very disappointing. We get it. It happens all the time. So we've got to pray that the right people come into your family, Juanita, and help you with your children. So we'll be praying. We believe in the power of prayer. Okay, Michelle called back from New Bedford, Massachusetts. You heard us with the plea for you to call back, Michelle. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi. I'm sorry for that. I'm calling on my laptop, and I waited 26 patient minutes, and then my laptop just died. I was like, no.
Oh no.
Well, you got our virtual patience award. Yeah, you've got our virtual patience award then.
Oh, good. Thank you. I got a virtual shelf to put it on. I did write my 3 reasons why I think things are going on. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget them. So I'll get through them real quick. The first reason I wrote why there's so much anger in the world is that, as the Bible says, the love of many will grow cold in the last days, which is what I believe is happening now. And as a result of that, patience and forgiveness is also growing cold, because patience and forgiveness is usually tied in to love. The number 2 reason I gave is we are emotionally becoming detached from one another, largely in part to technology. So this creates loneliness within us that fuels a frustration toward mankind. And the last reason I gave is unresolved issues from the past or the present often will flare up in our lives, and usually toward the ones we're closest to, or strangers alike. That's my insight on the issue.
Wow. Michelle, those are 3 great insights. And if I heard them correctly, one was we've kind of grown cold in our love for one another, which we are commanded by the gospel, by Jesus himself to do. Love one another, love each other as you love yourself. And then the emotional distancing, partly because of just being kind of turned in and absorbed within ourselves because of gadgets and technology and so forth. And I think there's a lot of shame at work in that too. And you know what? Getting old is difficult. Debbie, what was the third thing she said? Michelle, what was your third one?
Yeah, what was...
Yeah, the third one was unresolved issues from the past or the present.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the show as well. Yeah, I think that's the thing is, we are broken. We are human. We have tendencies towards sin and anger and all those. We mentioned at the start of the show, Jesus got angry. He never sinned, of course. And Paul writes in Ephesians 4, don't let the sun go down on your anger. Be angry, but do not sin. So being angry in itself is not necessarily the wrong thing or the sinful part. It's when we let it control us. But the thing is, God is a God of healing for anything, no matter what it is. Physical healing, emotional healing. If we have anger issues, God can heal that no matter what it is. So let's take this all to God and let him be the one who roots it out of our lives.
Yep, I agree. Michelle, not only did you get the Virtual Patience Award, but you got my special Home Run Award, too. So you can put that on the virtual shelf right next to the Virtual Award, and you just have the whole Take Two shelf just there. What do you think, Michelle?
Thank you. I appreciate it. And as I was listening to you, I had thought one more thing. I think a lot of the times, too, people, their anger is really an anger they have toward themselves, whether because they feel like, they're people, a lot of times people, what's in you comes out. And a lot of times anger, I know when I've been angry toward others, a lot of times at the end of the day, I'll look at it and I'll say, well, you know what, this thing that I'm angry with them about is really what I'm angry with myself about. So a lot of times, we take out on others what we don't like about ourselves. So that's another thing I'm learning about anger in this journey of life.
Michelle,
I couldn't agree more.
She's showing off now. That's what
Well, she wins all these awards, and then
I know. She wants a third
seriously,
one.
Michelle, I was going to say you could actually teach on this. In fact, you just did, Michelle. You just taught me and Debbie, and you taught everyone listening some very, very great insights on this. Thank you. You've obviously given this some thought and prayer, and we appreciate you joining us sincerely. We're going to try to get to as many of you as we can. Alberto is in Houston, Texas, listening on Guadalupe Radio. Hello, Alberto. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hello.
Hi, Alberto. How are you, young man?
Good, how are you?
Doing fine. You got something to share with us about anger?
Yes. Well, I sometimes have anger issues when I'm playing tennis.
Mm-hmm.
And recently I've been able to control my anger, but I just want a few tips from y'all.
Alberto, how old are you?
11.
Okay, so you're way too young to remember this tennis player named John McEnroe, but you could probably look at, did you ever hear that he used to throw his racket all the time and get, penalized all the time and playing in tournaments?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, here's the thing. He outgrew it, and they actually did an interview. It took him many, many years, but he realized that those outbursts were not productive to him at all. They were just a release of maybe some frustration and tension. And I would say too, sweetheart, that you maybe just if you could take, because I played golf, and I will tell you, I've thrown a few clubs. I will be honest with you. When I was your age, I would just say, honey, if you could just maybe take a step back while you're feeling that frustration just build up, maybe just say the name of Jesus, I trust in you, or Jesus, I love you. Just a sentence real quickly like that. Okay, but a prayerful sentence. Jesus, I love you, or Jesus, help me, real quickly. And see what happens. See if it changes your focus, Jerry.
Well, Alberto, do you get angry because you maybe miss a shot, or the other player is better? What do you think those moments of anger in particular are?
Well, I think I get angry when I miss and when I'm losing, and I just get frustrated at myself.
Right. Well, you know what, Alberto, here's what you need to do. Do what Debbie said. Call on the name of Jesus. But also, when these things happen, say, you know what, I'm going to practice harder. I'm going to try harder to be a better player. And when I don't make the right shot, or if other player is better than me, use that as a reason to say, I'm going to just try and be the very best I can be for the glory of God. Alberto, thank you. Brian, Rebecca, and Bob, I wish we had more time to get to all of you. Debbie, the hour is up again.
It is, and we have another show planned for you tomorrow. Can you really trust your friend? You have a lot of friends around you, but can you really trust them? That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day.